Alright, this is a video for the next chapter for Class 2 HT. The next chapter is chapter 6 is the one that we're going to do. We're going to finish chapter 5 later, but this one is a bit easier to do at home, so that's why I thought we would do this one. It's about percentages and diagrams, and today we're going to focus on the prior knowledge. That means things that you learned earlier, but you might have forgotten them, so that's why we're going to discuss it. Now I have some exercise on the paper here. I did copy it from the Dutch book, so here it says calculate, but over here it says bereken, but it is the same questions. So here we have exercise 2. You need to calculate a percentage of a number. So I'd like to tell you how you learned how to do that. Right? What you already learned earlier is that 1% means 1 out of 100. Right? Percent means per 100. So 1% is the same as 0.01. So you can always write down a percentage as a decimal number. For example, 12% is 12 out of 100, so you can write that down as 0.12. So you can always go from a percentage to a decimal number or the other way around. And it's very handy for this exercise, because here we need to calculate 58% of 160. So what we need to do then is we need to write 58% as a decimal number, so 0.58, and then you multiply that with the given number. So if you do 0.58 times 160, then you get the answer, which is, let me check, 0.58 times 160. I type it in the calculator over here. And then we get 92.8. So that's what we have over there. Now there is another way to calculate this, something that you might have learned in the elementary school. And that would be to do 160 divided by 100, because then you know what 1% is. And then times 58, and then you also have 92.8. But I do advise you to use this method, because later on and next year you'll learn something new about percentages. And then this method will be way easier than this method. But yeah, you'll know that when we get there. Exercise B, then we have to calculate 17% of 1050. So 17% is 0.17. And then you multiply that with 1050, and then you calculate the answer. Now sometimes the percentage has been annoying, like over here the percentage for, this was A, this was B, and now I'm going to do D. Here the percentage is 0.3%. So if you write that down as a decimal number, you get 0.003. And you always move the point 2 places, so it needs to be 1, 2 places, so you get 2 zeros here. And then you multiply that with the number given. And then you have the answer. Yes, always take the percentage, move the point 2 places, and then multiply that with the given number that you have. Alright, that's exercise 2. Then we're going to go to exercise 4. Then we have to calculate a new amount. Let me read the question from over here. It says, for each of these cases, calculate a new amount. The first one is, an amount of 560 decreases by 15%. Alright, so decrease means that it goes down, as you can see here, because this is the Dutch version of that question. So what you have to do then is the following thing. We take the original amount. The original amount is 100%, because it was everything that you had. And then it's going to go down by 15%, so minus 15%. So what you have left is 85%. So you have to do the 85, you write that down as a decimal number, and then you multiply that with the number given over here. And if you calculate that, then you know the new amount. So this is the new amount. So let me show you that one more time with exercise B. Here the decrease is 2%, right? If you read the question out of this book, it says an amount of 7,500 decreases by 2%. So that means we take the original 100%, we remove 2% because that's the decrease, so you have 98% left. So you do 0.98 times 7,500, and if you calculate that, then you have the answer. I also want to tell you how it works if you have an increase, because this is a decrease, that's why it's minus. But if it says over here, if one of these words was instead of decrease increased, that means that it goes up, right? You can see that here with exercise 3, for example. So what happens then is you take the 100%, and if you have a 2% increase, then it will be plus 2%. So then you would have 102%. So the number that you multiply with then is 1.02, and then times that number. Right, so if the question were an increase instead of a decrease, then you would have done this instead of that. So this is exercise 4. I mean, you can do C and D yourself. I'll send you the answers later. And then I also want to talk about exercise 6, because here we have to calculate the percentage. Like, what percentage is this out of that? Let me read the question out of the answer out of the book here. It says, what percentage is 18 out of 57? Alright, now here there's also an explanation, but I'm also going to show you the explanation over here. So you want to calculate what is this out of that. The rule that we have for this is always the part divided by the total. Well, the part is 18, the total is 57, so if you do part divided by total times 57, part divided by total, and then times 100, then you get the answer, which is 31.6%. And you always round this off to one decimal place, just one decimal place here. Okay, percentage is always on one decimal place. So if you take a look at the next exercise, if you want to calculate the percentage, you do the part, 125, divided by the total, and then times 100. And if you calculate that, you get 35.7%. So you see a couple of things that you learned earlier, but you might have forgotten, and hopefully this freshens up your memory. First of all, how to calculate a percentage. Then also, if you already have the percentage, how do you calculate the normal numbers? And then over here, how do you calculate an increase or a decrease? I mean, the questions were all about decreases, but here was an example about an increase. So hopefully this makes sense to everyone. If not, let me know. I'll be happy to explain it again. And see you later. Bye-bye.